This is CBSN Dallas-Fort Worth.
Hello again, everyone. Ken Molestina here from the CBSN Dallas-Fort Worth studios. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've been following along all week, you know this is day 4 of the Billy Chemirmir trial. He is the man accused of being a serial killer. His trial underway in Dallas. There has been a break right now in the trial for today on this Thursday. Let's go ahead and bring in our Andrea Lucia. She's been covering this trial from the very beginning. Andrea, I understand that the defense rested today. What's the latest?
The prosecution rested. Let me correct you real quick. Just before lunch, as we were breaking for lunch, in fact, the prosecution announced that it was resting its case. Now we'll have a chance to hear from the defense if they choose to call any witnesses. And then at that point, we expect to head into closing arguments, and potentially we could have this case to the jury this afternoon. So we'll find out more after lunch. But most of today was spent hearing from those final prosecution witnesses and really tying the case together that the prosecution is making.
Who were some of the witnesses that took the stand? Because I understand that there was a lot of technical witness accounts when it comes to how they use cell phone signals to find where Chemirmir was, even some information about where he worked at the Diamond Exchange, correct?
Right. So the first witness that came up was one of the owners of the Diamond and Gold Exchange in North Dallas. And he testified that that is somewhere that Chemirmir would go and sell jewelry. And that witness, really established motive in this case. He talked about how much money Billy Chemirmir would make from these sales. That shop alone says that it paid him more than $91,000 over the years. And in some cases, they were able to pinpoint dates that he was there that correspond with when he allegedly attacked women. The other major witness that we heard from was he was a forensic analyst for the FBI. He got up there. He was able to look at Billy Chemirmir's cell phone records and sort of track his movements on specific dates. And he was able to show us that Billy Chemirmir was, at least his cell phone was, in the area that these attacks were taking place. January 30th, the day that Mary Brooks is alleged to have been killed, Billy Chemirmir was at the Walmart. When she was at Walmart, he was at her home around the time that she's believed to have died. And then he was in a location selling jewelry of hers. And then on March 19th, the day that Mary Bartell was attacked, he can be placed at Preston Place Apartments, where she lived. On March 20th, the day that Luthi Harris died, he can be placed in the area around her home at the time that she was killed. So then the prosecution got up there. They have maps up there, and they're showing us really how his cell phone moved from all the locations of interest, really piecing together a lot of the evidence that we've been hearing over the last 3 days and bringing it all together.
I know that we asked you this in sort of the beginning, and we saw a lot of his demeanor in some of that video that was recorded with detectives when he was being interrogated. But I'm wondering on day 4 what Billy Chemirmir's sort of demeanor has been. Any reaction at all when any of this testimony is being given?
Yeah, we still, today he has had his mask on for most of the time. He pulled it down, I think, one time to be identified, possibly. So with that mask, it's hard to tell. That's something that's sort of frustrated. I know the victims' families, they want to look at him. They want to see how he's reacting to this. I can tell you the victims' families certainly have their reactions. I was speaking to them just a little while ago, and I was told that there were gasps in the room where they are when some of this evidence was being presented, specifically when you looked at how Billy Chemirmir traveled from the area around the homes where the victims were killed to sort of immediately, within minutes, somewhere where this jewelry was being sold. And, the nephew of one of the alleged victims told me it seemed like he was sort of just going to the bank and, cashing in this jewelry and walking away with a paycheck, not it seemed very routine, I guess, is the way that they looked at it. And he said they were literally just gasping as they were listening to this evidence being presented.
That's what I was going to ask you about what the family has had to say, or what kind of comments they've made in all of this. Obviously, a long, very emotional 4 days so far. We know at the beginning of the trial that the judge, Andrea, had made it a point that they wanted to wrap this all up this week. So are you getting any sense, middle of the day here on Thursday, with essentially a day and a half left, that this will be all wrapped up by tomorrow?
Well, we're certainly looking at closing arguments happening today. That's something that's expected, and then it'll go to a jury. It's up to the jury to decide really how long it takes them to come up with a decision. But, speculation is that, yeah, we do expect this to be wrapped up this week.
Okay. And of course, you will have all that information for us on air and online. We thank you, Andrea, so much for joining us here on CBSN Dallas-Fort Worth. We're looking forward to your reports a little later on CBS 11 News at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock. That's going to do it for us for now. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I'm Ken Molestina.